So, let's dive into one of the biggest questions imaginable. What exactly is the mind? We're going to take a foundational look at what is, without a doubt, the most complex and powerful tool any of us will ever have. Okay, let's kick things off with this really bold statement from our source material, because it totally sets the stage. Our mind is the most powerful weapon in the world. Just think about that for a second. It's a heavy claim for sure, but when you dig into it, it makes a whole lot of sense. And right away, that powerful idea leads to the big question, doesn't it? We all have a mind, we use it every single second of every day, but when it comes to actually defining it, yeah, that's where things get a little tricky. I mean, to really get a grip on its power, just think about it this way. Physical weapons, things like nuclear bombs or fighter jets, are unbelievably destructive. But they didn't just pop into existence. They all started as ideas, as little projections born inside someone's mind. So the real point here is that all these incredible inventions are just extensions of what's happening in our mental world. It's kind of wild, right? The mind can literally shape our entire world, and yet it's still this huge mystery. People have been circling this same fundamental question for centuries, trying to get a handle on what it truly is. So, why is it so tough to pin down? Well, a big part of the problem is just its sheer complexity. The mind can feel, overwhelmingly intricate, and it's not like defining a planet or a cell where there's one field of science that has the final say. The challenge is that science itself doesn't really have one unified view. There's this long, ongoing debate across philosophy, psychology, you name it, about what a mind even is. Each field is looking at it through its own unique lens. And this breakdown shows those different lenses perfectly. You've got neuroscience, which is looking at the physical hardware, the brain, the nervous system, all the wiring. Then you have cognitive science, which kind of sees the mind as software, focusing on how it processes information for things like memory and solving problems. And then there's psychology, which looks at the user experience, our emotions, our personality, our behavior. You see, each field is holding a really vital piece of the puzzle. Okay, so with all these different perspectives, it can feel pretty much impossible to get a clear picture. So the question becomes, how can we simplify this thing? How do we build a basic understanding without getting totally lost in all the details? Well, the answer is to break the mind down into its core parts. Instead of trying to define the whole shebang at once, we can focus on what are called mental faculties, basically the tools the mind uses to get its jobs done. Now look, while the experts will always debate the finer points, there's a pretty broad agreement on a core set of these mental faculties. So by focusing on these agreed-upon building blocks, we can create a really powerful and useful way of understanding the mind. And that brings us to the key takeaway of this entire explainer. The whole complex puzzle of the mind, well, it can be simplified by understanding 6 core faculties. These 6 fundamental abilities are the building blocks of our entire mental world. And here they are. Let's just run through them quickly. Imagination, that's your ability to create ideas and pictures of things that aren't actually there. Perception is your point of view, how you interpret everything. Consciousness is simply your awareness, the fact that you are aware. Memory is like your mental file cabinet, storing and pulling up info. Reason is your logical side, letting you think things through and draw conclusions. And finally, intuition. That's your gut feeling, your ability to just know something without having to think it through. Together, these 6 powerhouses literally construct your reality. So what's the big payoff here? Why does this matter? Well, understanding these 6 faculties shows us that our experience of the world goes way, way beyond what our 5 physical senses are telling us. This comparison really lays it all out. On one side, you've got your 5 physical senses. They're just bringing in the raw data. But on the other side, you have your mental faculties. They're the ones that interpret and analyze and create meaning from all that data, or even create brand new worlds right inside your head. At the end of the day, this isn't just some abstract academic exercise. By getting a handle on these basic faculties, we can have a much more fulfilling experience of the world. We develop a deeper understanding not just of how the mind works, but why it works the way it does. It really does lead to a deeper understanding of yourself. So I'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. If these 6 faculties are constantly working together to build your reality, which ones are you actively using right now, in this very moment, to process all of this information? Just think about it.